21. This meeting is for the nominee for the Shefa Board, Mr. Juan K. Tenorio. May I hear a motion to adopt the agenda for this afternoon?
So move.
Has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried. Right now, we are on agenda number 3 for public comments. Anybody from the public arena, can you please go ahead and step up to the podium? State your name for the record. And if you don't mind, if you could just limit your comments to about 5 minutes at the most. At the same time, when you're done with your public statement, if you have anything in writing, please submit it to the Sergeant at Arms so that we could have it be a part of our committee report and journal for the confirmation. Thank you very much. You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Once again, I'd like to express my gratitude for the expedient, hearing for, I would say, my colleague, and now former colleague, Mr. Juan K. Tenorio, formerly known as Shine. Oh, by the way, my name is Oscar Rivera, and I came this afternoon, Madam Chair. Thank you for the opportunity again to express my support for the nominee by the Honorable David M. Apatan. Unfortunately, the mayor called me this morning to inform me that in as much as he wanted to participate this afternoon, he had a prior medical commitment with his physician. So I humbly beg your forgiveness and excuse. Thank you. Madam Chair, Shine, as is fondly called, is not new to the board. He is the most senior member of the current composition of the Board of Directors of the Saipan Higher Educational Fund Act. He has been in there the past 10 years. And on behalf of the board and the other board members and the staff of the Shefa program, I wish to express our gratitude for him allowing this time to share his precious private time to share with the board and assist our Shefa applicants, students, primarily, in achieving their educational goals and objectives. And by the way, I will also wish to extend my forgiveness and my apology. Good afternoon to your esteemed JGO committee, SNILD JGO committee members. And I can only hope, Madam Chair, that as you and your committee deliberate on this nomination before your committee, that you arrive at a favorable consideration in granting him another term to continue his proficient and efficient work with the board. Shine, Mr. Tenorio has a heart in having our client expound their education opportunities. There are times when many continuing students will not necessarily feel behind, but lack the time of achieving, the required documentations prior to every grant year. In many cases, primarily last year, as a result of the COVID-19, many students fell behind in addressing their submission of their so-called report cards, their documentation that needed to be attached to the applications, their grades, because the facilities that they are attending have since closed temporarily as a result of COVID-19 issues. However, that case may be, he weighed individually's dilemma and arrived at a very fair and reasonable decision as he chairs the Committee on Awards under the Scholarship Board. So overall, I would say Shine is an excellent candidate, an excellent nominee for this position, Madam Chair, and the rest of the members, and I wish to express my gratitude in advance hope that all of you would consider granting him another term. With that being said, thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to appear before you again this afternoon and your fellow members. Thank you. Buenos dias.
Thank you so much, Mr. Babauta. Before we proceed to the next public comment, I do want to recognize our floor leader for SNILD delegation, Representative Sheila Babauta. Also, SNILD JGO committee member, Representative Vicente Camacho. To his right would be Representative Danita Yangtemai. And Representative Tina Sablan is also a member. She's the vice chair for the committee. She is excused right now. And to my left, Representative BJ Atto. To his left is Representative Joseph Lee Pon Guerrero. And to his left is Representative JP Sablan. Thank you very much. We are still open for public comments.
Madam Chair, my apology. I think I commit a civil sin this afternoon. I forgot to mention that in the gallery we have our interim chair for the board now, the acting chairperson, Mr. Frank D. Cabrera, and also our hardworking chair of our Policy and Procedure Committee, Ms. Kelani Demapan, who is with us this afternoon, and our administrator, Ms. Marisa Rosa, in the gallery. Thank you. And
Thank you.
my humble apology to my colleagues.
Welcome. Welcome to the House Chamber. We appreciate your presence this afternoon. We are still open for public comments. Please step up to the podium and state your name. And if you have any written comments, please submit it to the Sergeant at Arms for our records too. Thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon. First and foremost, my name is Francisco Cabrera. I'm here as a citizen and also as the interim chair for the SHERPA organization. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Senator De La Guerrero, and honorable members of this prestigious body. I stand here before you not to echo a whole lot what our former chair, Mr. Babauta, stated, but I'm here to put in a word of knowledge pertaining to the renomination of our former vice chair, Mr. Juan Tenorio. I'm presenting Mr. Tenorio to the Stipend Higher Education Assistance Financial Program as nominated by the Honorable Mayor David M. Appleton. I'm privileged to do so and present here. Mr. Tenorio is highly qualified for the position being nominated. He has spent over 10 years, to the best of my knowledge, being a board member. Over the last 3.5 years, I myself being the SHERPA board member, I've learned a lot from him, going through the history of what transpired with SHERPA. And we have worked closely, and I learned the traits of what SHERPA is all about, the meaning behind SHERPA, and how to go about its regulation, and also finding solutions. He is highly respected by other SHERPA board members. Mr. Tenorio is a businessman and a model citizen, and served as an extraordinary role model within his peers and is a standard bearer of integrity and civility. I respectfully ask you, Honorable Chairperson Delon Guerrero, and this committee for your full support and to reconfirm nominee Mr. Tenorio back to the SHERPA board. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cabrera. Please submit your written comments to the Sergeant at Arms for our journal. We are still open for public comments. Anybody else from the gallery? You can step up to the podium, please state your name. And you also, if you have a written comment, to submit it. Thank you very much. You may proceed.
Thank you. Buenas Hafaday, Tito, and good afternoon. SNILD Judiciary and Governmental Operations, JGO, Chairwoman, Madam Chairwoman De Leon Guerrero, and the honorable members of this body. For the record, my name is Kelani Demapan, member of the Northern Marianas College PROA family, and a board member of the Saipan Higher Education Financial Assistance Program appointed by the Honorable Mayor Appleton. Thank you for the opportunity to provide public comment in today's hearing. I'm here to fully support the reappointment and confirmation of Juan Shine K. Tenorio to serve once again as a member of the SHERPA board. I've known Shine for over a year in my capacity as a board member with SHEFA, and as the former vice chairman of the board. He was not only present at all of our meetings, but he was there physically, mentally, and he most definitely spoke on behalf of our students with genuine passion. He is the longest serving board member and someone I personally look up to professionally. And our conversations have been very fruitful and must be had. Shine understands that education is at the heart of our community's priorities, let alone having to pay for college education for the many students like myself who have applied and benefited from the great work being done at the SHEFA program, which is led by our Administrator Marissa Rasa and her hardworking team under the leadership of Mayor Apatang. Shine understands the unprecedented economic circumstances brought about by the COVID pandemic and that we need a stronger local workforce, an educated community, and an innovative approach to managing our financial resources, our educational issues, and our economy. Mr. Tenorio, together with the current SHEFA board members and the SHEFA leadership and staff, will ensure that our program meets this important goal for our students and our community. The Honorable Mayor Apatang places his full faith and confidence in Mr. Tenorio as a member of the Board of Directors for SHEFA, and so do we, the current my fellow board members. And I was not here last Thursday to provide public comment for Mr. Oscar Babauta, our former chairman, but I am in full support of his reappointment and reconfirmation wholeheartedly. And together, we just ask for a full board, especially during these times, during this pandemic. Thank you, Jesus Masi and Giliso, for the opportunity to provide public comment to this August body.
Thank you so much for your comment. We appreciate it. We are still open for public comments. Anybody else from the audience? Please step up to the podium. There's no further public comments. This is officially closed. Thank you. Moving on the agenda, item 4. We would like now to invite the SHEFA nominee, Mr. Juan K. Tenorio. You may proceed to the middle chair, please. Thank you, and address the committee.
First off, good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the JGO committee. Thank you for having me here today. And I just wanted to start with saying thank you to my former colleagues, also for their kind words for my reappointment to the SHEFA board. I want to thank the Mayor, Honorable Mayor Dave Apatang, for entrusting me back to the program, to lead the program, and so we can move forward for the coming year. And I want to thank him for always believing in me. This is the second time that he renominated me, and I want to thank him for that. So brief about me and SHEFA. I started in 2009. I think that was under the 17th legislature, and so I've been in the program for going on 11 years, or about 11 years. So I've been with 3 different mayors. I was first appointed by former Mayor Donald Flores, and when he passed, I was also under Marian Tadella when she came in after he passed, and continued on with our current mayor, Mayor Apatang. And like I said, this is the second reappointment under his leadership through to the program. I've seen SHEFA grow. I think I've grown with SHEFA too. I came into SHEFA 26 years old, just fresh out of college. And, I honestly didn't know what I was doing, what I was stepping into. It was kind of new to me. All I know is I was a recipient, not of SHEFA, but of the CNMI scholarship. And I knew that, we had that privilege here in Saipan and the CNMI in regards to, helping with our education, our post-secondary education, and provided, to help facilitate us in our education. I wasn't a recipient of SHEFA, but I understood what, having that privilege to be able to get these scholarships to help you abroad if you win the school abroad. And when I first stepped in, it was a humbling experience because I was probably young enough to be the grandchild of most of the board members. So I've had a lot of colleagues at SHEFA, and they've all done good work for the program. So SHEFA was, it's still probably a fairly new program, and it's still growing as we speak. 2004 was when it was created. So it's, it's one of the younger government agencies or entities. And like I said, every day is a growing experience with the program. We learn from our mistakes, and we try to, move forward and try and help the recipients of the program, the students who are pretty much what the program was created for. And also in regards to, we're stewards of education, not only education, also the workforce. And, it's a privilege to have this program, and it's also a privilege for me to serve on the board, and an honor to be serving on that board. And I would love to continue to serve on the SHEFA board if the committee so sees that I seem fit for the program. Okay. And I want to thank, again, Madam Chair and your committee, JGO committee, on having us here. I want to thank my colleagues, or former colleagues, hopefully can be colleagues again, and also my staff, the staff at SHEFA, which is, the hardworking staff. That staff is, they're an awesome staff, and I want to thank them for always helping me too. If I had any questions or I needed an answer to something, or I needed papers or some any kind of documents, they were always there to assist me on that. Also, I want to note that SHEFA, when I first started, there was only 2 staff there at the office. They've grown to 4. 2 of the staff were from WIA and transitioned on to being full-time staff at the program. And then we've currently brought in a compliance officer, which was what we needed, which was a big help to the program. So currently with 4 staff, and I want to thank them for pretty much being the backbone of the program. Yeah. And thank you again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tenorio. You may just stay in your seat, please. We're going to proceed on with the agenda. We're into item 5 for discussion. So I'd like to open up the floor right now to the members. If you have any questions or you would like to have a conversation with the nominee, you're welcome to do so. Anybody? Recognize Representative BJ Atto.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No questions really for the nominee. He's done his service to SHEFA, and he's willing to continue that service with the board. And Mr. Tenorio, thank you for that. Thank you to Mayor Aptang for renominating you. There's a lot of trust in the work that you've done in the last 10 years. So we look forward to the continuing efforts and the growth of SHEFA. Unfortunately, as you are very well aware, that the funding source that's supposed to help SHEFA is dwindling right now, but we will work our best to find that source of funds so we can address the needs that the board, its operations, and also the recipients of the SHEFA scholarship will continue. With that being said, Madam Chair, thank you. Thank you again for accepting the renomination.
Thank you, Representative BJ Atto. Any other member? Recognize Representative Lee Kwan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Tenorio, welcome to your house. As they always, and I always alluded, it's the people's house. Uh, First of all, thank you for accepting the nomination from our Mayor Apatang to be on this prestigious board again, once again. You're a product of this SHEFA board, and even you yourself went through higher education and received funding from this this board, and you being there, I know for a fact that as our vice speaker mentioned here, that we're shortful for the collection of the only source of income that is given to the SHEFA. We will do our best to identify other means of revenue to provide the remaining portion. I only ask that you continue to provide assistance to our students that are in need of this funding, most especially during this pandemic. And I look forward to working with you and the rest of the SHEFA board. And with that, Madam Chair, I think we have a qualified individual before us. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Lee Kwan. Recognize Representative John Paul Sablan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to welcome you, Shine, Mr. Juan Tenorio. Thank you again for accepting your nomination. I do want to state for the record, excuse me, Madam Chairwoman, that I want to thank also the mayor for renominating Mr. Tenorio into serving again as a SHEFA board member. Some of us who have been that are returning members from previous legislature had the opportunity to work with Shine, and we saw the due diligence of his work, how he's passionate on how he wants to grow the program, and even as the chair of the grant awards committee, Mr. Tenorio worked so hard in trying to amend their policies and regulations to also include students that wish to go to NMTI school for vocational trade certification. He had a great part on working on amending those procedures to allow our kids to choose if they wish to avail themselves in vocational education. I did work with Mr. Tenorio and the rest of the SHEFA board in the past legislatures, and I know that he's highly qualified to continue, and I thank you for accepting again his nomination, and for that, Madam Chair, I want to state for the record my support for his nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative John Paul Sablan. Any other member that would like to have a discussion? Recognize floor leader, Representative Sheila Babauta.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members, for having me sit in this hearing. Mr. Tenorio, congratulations on your renomination. Thank you for your service to the board. I was a recipient of SHEFA for a long time during college, and so I am very grateful for the assistance that the office provides to our students on and off island. I see that you did serve, well, my first question is, I see that you did serve as the chairman for the Committee on Appeals.
Yes.
And can you just briefly summarize your duties and responsibilities in that role and some of the issues and concerns that were brought to your attention?
Okay, the Committee on Appeals is when a student gets denied for, it could be anything from lack of documents or failing a class or not meeting our GPA and or past the due dates and all that. So they would appeal to the office first, and then the office would send them another denial based on meeting based on our rules and regulations. So then they would appeal to the board after that. And then I'm in the committee for the appeals committee and deferment. So then that's when I would come in with my committee and we would look at, we'll take a look at the issues or what the testimony that the student wrote in regards to their appeal. So, and then I would see whether, if the student, I would just try and investigate what's the reason or what's the cause for their denial. I mean, the biggest ones are probably, I would say, not meeting the deadline or lack of documentations, meaning like they didn't turn in their transcripts. And then also a big one too is the biggest one I think probably will be they've already met the maximum awards. So we do grant a one-time approval. So in case but they would have to appeal to the board in regards to that. Then my committee would look into that. I will present once we find our findings, present it to the board, and we'll come up with with a decision whether to affirm the appeal or, reverse or affirm the appeal.
Thank you. And you have served on the SHEFA board for a long time.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you'd like to bring to our attention that can be improved?
Of course, previously we all know that SHEFA comes from the poker funds. We see that the poker industry is dwindling, and before we didn't have to we don't have to lobby too hard in regards to funding. But as the funding gets, as the poker machines, the numbers start dwindling. Now us as the board would have to, see fit that, now we have to work with the legislature and the Senate in regards to keeping our budget. And I think that would be our biggest challenge would be with budget, for the office and then most especially for the recipients for the awards. But I think the board, when I was in the board, we've worked really hard. This board is a good team. I mean, we look forward or in advance into how we can, if we know that we have this amount of money, we can budget for, because we're not too sure in regards to funding, whether it comes, or we know that the situation, especially since the COVID, is getting worse. I mean, we've been through a lot. I've been through Salvador, through YouTube, and now with COVID. I've seen when we've had a lot of issues arise since the storms and then with COVID. And I think this board was up to the task in regards to how we can budget for. We would rather see that the program would stretch another three semesters and all that, and the funding is available. So when I was on the board, me and my colleague, our chairman, we did anticipate that it's going to be getting a little bit rough. I mean, in regards to funding, so we did, we suspended, for example, incentive program, which is based on your grades. We suspended priority fields, which is based on what you're studying. But the main award that's the main part of the program, is the main award. Those incentives are just based on how you did in school, where you can get an extra incentive or priority field if you're becoming a doctor, a nurse, or biologist, or So we look I think when our work on the board has helped the program move forward, and I would like to see, not only for traditional education, but I mean we've been very accommodating to NMTI, and I for one, I went the traditional route, but I feel that the trades is the maybe not appreciated field that I would like to see grow, because you can see, if you're in the States, you can see a plumber who has he's a plumber, but he has his own business, and the guy's making, little do they know, I mean, maybe, I don't know if we're not educating our people, but that guy's probably making $30 an hour, and but he gets down and he grinds for his job. Also an electrician, or I would love to see NMTI move forward in a better direction, and I want that program to grow. I've always stressed that when I was going to school at Boise State, they had a school of technology, which is basically the trade school. Congressman Ato, Larry Sheelan School of Technology was the trade school. So I mean, literally, you can go from a nursing program to, if you wanted to be a auto mechanic, too, you can go from nursing classes to auto mechanic, and we saw it work cohesively. So I can see, I would love to see somehow we can unify both into one and move forward, because we are having an issue in regards to with our labor force. We are bound by USCIS in regards to with foreign labor and all that we have to look forward to. I think starting now, even if it's 10, 15 years from now, we want to get our people to progress and understand that these fields are just as important as getting a degree in accounting or like my degree management. I mean, so I would love to see probably if you guys do confirm me back to the board, I would probably I was here at chairman our former chairman Obi's hearing, and I heard our Madam Chair discuss about the trades and all that, and I would love to see us probably work forward, look into ways how we can innovate, probably come up with something, or like business entrepreneurship and all that. Yeah, like what you mentioned. I mean, I'm in the private sector. I'm a businessman. Me along with my father in our business and all that. So I see what it takes to the struggles on how to run a business, how to operate, and So I would love to see our program probably broaden itself. Now stay within the means of the budget, but we can broaden. I mean, it doesn't hurt to look into those different types of programs that we can get into. We did our board was working on I've always brought up, like, maybe what we can do is we can go to like government agencies and say, hey, if you take part-time here, so that maybe we can make our workforce more on the education. I mean, if they didn't get their degree, at least there's the PLA program up at NMC, and we're working to work on something with that. Maybe a part-time scholarship which we don't have, but everything is based on funding and all that. So yeah, I would love to see the program move forward in regards to traditional education and also in the trades. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Tenorio, for sharing your concerns about funding and for sharing your support and your passion for the trades. I too support the trades very much.
Yep.
They literally build our lives.
Yeah.
Literally. Great. So, so thank you for sharing that. As a board member, what do you think we can do, or the board can do, to ensure that recipients who are funded off-island or off-island recipients return home?
Okay.
And is that an issue that the Sheffield board?
That's right. That's the committee I'm in. Yes, I would say that would be probably one of the returning back home to fulfill the MOA that they signed. That's why we instituted we brought in a compliance officer in regards to that, so they can at least keep track. There's a lot of students here who have received it and have come back to do their time. It don't matter whether you work in the private sector or the government sector. Just come back, be a taxpayer, a tax-paying citizen, law-abiding citizen, and that's all Shefa has. I mean, I can recall when I first came back, like I said, right when I got back, I marched straight to CNMI scholarship, and I said, yeah, what do I have to fill out? I'm here, So I would love to see, I think the challenges were, when I first got in 2009 to probably 2012 was a recession time. Jobs was just, and I would love, jobs was just hard to come by. And, probably I would say our job pool is the issue over here. If we have 500 graduates and you only have 50 positions, and 500 of those students were, Shefa recipients, I mean, it's just the numbers just doesn't match, doesn't add up and all that. I would love to see our government work to building a middle class. I think that will be in cohesiveness with the private sector. I think the private sector is, the private sector is, I think, the key to, to how our government operates and all that. The more business, the more economy that we have, the better that we, our government, can work in regards to, creating these laws and all that. So we would have to build that private sector, and it starts with those jobs, the one that, like trades or, accounting and all that. So I would love to see um, the program move in that in regards to that in that direction. So with appeals, I think the biggest concern was not being able to find a job here. And let's not. I would love the students to understand that there's a private sector here. It might be a little thinner on the job availability, but that's where we have to work to. And if you guys do reconfirm me, I would like to, probably we can facilitate with labor or OPM. So I don't really know the government issue, but yeah, OPM, and and we can be a recruiting tool. We can also be a recruiting tool. We got graduates here that probably looking for a job. The office does a great job at trying to notify and pump information to the students that, hey, you got to come back. That the purpose of this program, the privilege to getting the SHEFA award is that you have to return back or come and help our workforce here in Saipan. I'll just say Saipan because SHEFA is a Saipan-based scholarship. So what do you call that? I would love to see us work together, like with those agencies in regards. We can be a recruiting tool as well in regards to getting, improving our workforce and all that. So.
Thank you, Mr. Tenorio. I am in full support of your renomination. I am grateful for your service in serving the SHEFA board. And please know that the SNILD, your local delegation, is here to support SHEFA and the board in any way we can. So our doors are always open to any recommendations or suggestions that you have to changes in the language of the law.
Okay.
And of course, appropriation measures.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
All right,
Thank you,
thank you.
Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Senator Sheila Babauta. Any other member who would like to have a discussion? Recognize Representative Danita Youngtimore.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Michelle.
No, you've been in this for 11 years.
Yes, ma'am.
No? And do you see an increase of our kids here availing of the services from this one?
Right now, since I've been when I was in the board, it's a steady trend. I mean, it's with COVID. For me, when I was, I was probably projecting that it's gonna dip down, but it kind of actually. I mean, NMC has probably record number. I mean, probably their highest enrollment right now. So it's it just really depends on the situation. I've seen we've always been steady, and depending fall, of course, is always more, first-time recipients, and they decide whether school is what they want to do or whether they want to get into trade. So fall will be where more recipients receive, and then spring will be where it levels out. So the level out comes at the springtime, and then from there again, fall you see an increase in fall, and then level out again in spring. It's always been the same since I've been there. The numbers probably stay the same throughout, ranging between 500 to 700. Sometimes you get more and all that. Yeah. But the board has been, when we first came in 2009, that's when we were having issues where we were dispersing fall awards in spring. This is in 2009. Okay, I'm just going back in history. It was got that tough. With the program, because it was just we're not that dispersing. We don't disperse the funds. We get everything was through finance and all that. So the office did its work in regards to the batches, but for fall, receiving your fall check in spring. That's when that was the encounter that I had to. That's what we encountered, or I encountered when I first got in. So I would say the numbers, it just stays, it always stabilizes. It always gets an upstick, increase in the fall, and then levels out in the spring. So it's always about the same. Yeah.
Sorry, I was referring to Chamorros and the Faluash students.
Oh, yeah, with the indigenous, yes. I would say that it increased every year, every school year. We did, what we did, in the past 2 years was we did do away with the entrance GPA, just so that you can get our students to automatically jump. I mean, because if they were, the way I put it, I mean, I probably could say the same too. I wasn't good in high school, but I was good in college. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I probably, I can stand by that model too. So, so what we did with the, we try to see if we can get more students to, you know, maybe they don't have the means for education, but we can, knowing the fact that as long as you get an acceptance letter or you go, into an institution, you'll be able to avail to the program right away. Now it's your responsibility to work at it and get better, get good grades and, and come back and be a, model citizen. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
You
you.
are a model citizen yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Yankame.
Any other members? Recognize Representative Vicente Camacho.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to congratulate you on your renomination and reappointment.
Thank you.
And I support your reappointment.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Representative Camacho. Recognize Representative Danita.
Yes, I support you for your renomination.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I guess it's my turn to have a conversation with Mr. Tenorio. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Between 0 and 100% of placements of the SHEFA graduates, where would you rank our students to come back home in terms of job placement?
90% government. Like if you wanna put in numbers, government and the private sector, yeah, I'll say probably 90% government.
Thank you for sharing that, because I do want to bring to your attention, and I know I talked about the 2020 prevailing wage report, and with respect to where the job opportunity is at, and we understand that any economy, whether it's here in the United States or any other country, is actually driven by the private sector industries. And the private sector actually has a total of 65.3% employees versus 34.7% employees in the public sector. And the total number of employers in the private sector is 98.9% versus 1.1% of public. So I do want to kind of like bring back that conversation again to the SHEFA board, that we do also need to think outside the box and to start looking at where the employment opportunities are at for our citizens that are coming home, that are looking for employment opportunities. Additionally, with entrepreneurship in mind as well, because you and I understand that not just working for anybody is a way to make a living, but you could also work for yourself. So I really would like to appreciate the board to start utilizing the data and shifting in terms of strategies for employment placements of our graduates. Additionally, I'm still going to go back to the amount of receivables that we talked about last week with Representative the nominee Oscar Babauta on your annual report of 2020 of $16.9 million of receivable. I'm just wondering, what is the plan? I'd like to get more in-depth conversation of that. I'm very worried that a lot of our students are facing this liability on their records, and what do we plan to do about that?
Madam Chair, like the office, we've brought in a compliance officer. That's the first step in regards to, so we do try to, the office is working very hard at trying to notify. Like I said, we put it out, and they need to understand that MOA, what that MOA, Memorandum of Agreement, is about. What's it about when you avail to the program? That it's a privilege to have, to be able to receive this award. But the terms to it is you must return, or you would have to, you become in default in regards to the program. We are doing our best to notify all students who are in default, and the office is working hard during working hours in regards to notifying. We probably would need to, move in. I mean, the next step would be, or I'm not sure what would be the next step, but it's where we have to try and get collect from the students who are in default, and we would have to work as a board in regards to that. And I mean, if you're talking collection agencies, or it's a lot of work that has to be done just to be able to collect. But we're doing our part in the office in regards to notifying the students. We got we got papers that that they receive, or if they receive that they're in default, or they've been notified they've been in default, they would have to understand what's the consequences of being in default from the program.
Thank you for your thoughts on that. I wish to share my thoughts on it with the board and with you, because as we have this conversation from last week and today, we talk about a system that doesn't really offer the opportunities for employment for our people that are coming home. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you look at it and weigh the issue, that a lot of it is not as a result of them not wanting to come home. It's because the environment that we are in does not present itself in the most opportunity for them to come home to try to fulfill the MOA responsibility to SHEFA. Is that fair? Is that fair to our students? Is that fair to our people that are wanting to come home? And is it fair that we continue to hold $16.9 million against them when we know that the system itself, for example, there's no absolute enforcement in terms of transitioning out under U.S. Public Law 12229, despite the fact that there does exist that opportunity. And I'm gonna cite some laws, okay? And then that's what I'm trying to get to in terms of this conversation is, are we gonna continue to hold our students, our citizens accountable for $16.9 million of receivables against them, when we know for a fact that here within our Commonwealth, way before COVID-19, it's because it's not what you have in terms of your intellectuals. It's not because you hold a degree, it's because of who you know in any administration, which is very unfair. So I'm pleading to the board of SHEFA to please take a look at this, make a decision of what's gonna happen to $16.9 million of receivables, and weigh where do we meet in terms of fairness with our students that are wanting to come home, to bring home the talent and narrow the gap of talent in our community. But we as a system, we have to be honest to ourselves. We have created our own monster of not having the opportunity for our kids to come home to. I plead with you to please look into this. Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The other area of conversation I'd like to bring to your attention on your resolution number 2021-002, it says here, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Stipend Higher Education Financial Assistance Program pursuant to 10 CMC subsection 3924 do hereby adopt this resolution establishing its policy that new students seeking SHEFA assistance shall be limited during the first 2 years of post-secondary study to grants in aid and other assistance only for studies undertaken in the Commonwealth offered by U.S. accredited colleges or universities and so forth, particularly NMC. So my question here in this particular provision of the resolution is, what if a student, for example, had a prior semester application, then let's just say that they missed one semester and they come in on the next semester. How does SHEFA look at that in terms of the gap? Does it consider that student as a new student and now subject to the resolution? Or is that considered a continuing student under SHEFA? Can you please provide that clarification?
Okay, Madam Chair. So if a student goes if they do decide to take a break after a semester, they would have to notify the program, because after 6 months, that will be they will go into default too. And but if they they can ask for a deferment, that maybe they want to take a break, and then we can grant them a deferment, and then they're going to continue on their education. They will still be an ongoing student after that. Yeah.
Okay, I don't think the resolution talks about a default here. I think it talks about requiring them to go to, the local institution.
Oh, you're talking about, I know, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I read it
Okay.
verbatim from your resolution, so I just wanted to understand whether those students that had a gap in application that were prior students for SHIFA or SHEFA, that they are considered continuing students and not considered new students for your new resolution.
Yeah.
That's the clarification I'm
Yeah.
seeking.
Yeah, there'll be continuing students if they were attending NMC.
Right.
So recently the board did pass in regards to students starting off here at NMC. I think that will be, that's one step in regards to, the current situations that we are faced with in regards to funding. So the board did take that step into where students after they graduate high school, entering into their first year of college, would have to attend NMC. And we saw it fit that it also would, encourage our students to attend the institution that we do have here in Saipan, or the CNM. I'll say CNMI because it is our CNMI scholar institution. And it's probably a way to also, facilitate our students in regards to the workforce staying here on Saipan. The board saw that as a step in that direction. And I had my challenges against it. I was actually against starting off here at NMC because I also looked at if a student had a chance to go to Harvard, they need all the assistance that they can get, and then we're going to deny the student because of, we're allowing only for first time to start up at NMC. So, but then later on, I came to understanding of what we're trying to do. We do want to pump the workforce here in the CNMI. We know that that's the lifeblood of a working economy is the workforce. Okay, and we want to see our workforce, our private sector, and our government work in cohesiveness. And the board saw fit that starting off at NMC might they might not want to start here, but they end up going to NMC, and then because that's what financially they can financially that's in their means in regards to going to school, and they might end up staying here, get their bachelor's, and they're already in the workforce. So the board saw that. That would be one step too in regards to the workforce issue. So that's the board took that step. And
Thank you. I just wanted that clarification that.
Okay, sorry about that.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
That the continuing students do not fall into that trap just because they had a gap in
Yeah.
terms of their application, and that those, like you say, you use the high school grads as new examples of coming out first timers so that they will go to NMC.
Yeah.
Thank you for that
That's right.
clarification. It just doesn't speak the language in that fashion, so it kind of brought to my attention,
Okay.
and I wanted to bring it to your attention too.
Yes, ma'am.
I do want to carry on. Are you familiar with Public Law 15108? Okay, that has to do with employment and labor, so
Okay.
I do want to bring that to your attention.
Okay.
Whenever you have the time to review the law, because
Yes, ma'am.
you're part of the workforce system.
Yes, ma'am.
You are offering scholarship, and you are filling the pipeline for
Yes,
what we
ma'am.
need here in the Commonwealth. And on subsection 4529, it talks about statistical data.
Mhm.
So I'm just wondering whether, how frequent or often is there any conversation with SHIFA, with the Department of Labor and any other workforce partner with respect to the collection of data, the sharing of data across the board, and also for those that are graduating that are wanting to come home, and how is that relationship happening with the CNMI Department of Labor in terms of employment referrals for any jobs that are opening up in the market, so that our graduates can be landing those opportunities?
Madam Chair, personally, I do understand, a bit about, not really on what sections or what law pertains to in regards to labor, but, I do know the prevailing wage. I am in the private sector. I do understand, about the prevailing wage. My company just submitted, for the survey for the prevailing wage. For SHEFA, we would, like I said, we would like to, if I do get confirmed again, I would like to take that step now. In regards, we have been in talks with in regards with NMC, and maybe I'm not sure if with OPM and directly with Department of Labor, we would but we can open that that line of conversation in regards to being, like I said earlier, a recruiting tool for, for not only, it could be for other companies, it could be for private companies, it could be for government agencies. We would like to, probably move for, that would be the next direction. For the program, our main goal is in regards is to our students, our recipients. So we've worked, the program, the board, the staff, and the mayor have worked hard in regards to shaping the program. Now it's, we want to move forward in that next direction and trying, where we can become a recruiting tool. And we do understand, or at least personally, I understand the challenges we face for the future in regards to workforce. And I feel that I'm probably the voice on the board for the private sector. I think I'm the only, since I've been there, I feel now our former chairman is currently in the private sector, and everyone else that is from a government agency, or at least my former colleagues were all from government agencies. So I do kind of speak on behalf of the private, sector when I get in, when I'm in the board meeting and all that. So I would like to take, probably create a line of communication with these agencies, OPM, labor, in regards to moving forward and seeing how we can be also a recruiting tool for these agencies.
I do want to let you know that you really don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna read a certain section of the same public law, subsection 4533.
Okay.
It talks about manpower training programs in coordination with the Office of Personnel Management, the Northern Marianas College, the public school system, and the Workforce Investment Agency, each Commonwealth government entity. And that's generalized. That's where you fall in.
Okay.
Each government, government entity, except the judiciary, authorized pursuant to this chapter to employ workers other than citizens and permanent residents shall develop, maintain, and implement a comprehensive manpower training and education plan covering each position held by a foreign national worker. So I was being warm with you. Actually, you don't have a choice. That's part of their responsibility. So I really would like, appreciate that. Similarly with the CNMI Scholarship Board, that everybody works under the umbrella of the CNMI workforce system, so that our citizens that are being educated here off island truly have the opportunity and the comfort that board members like yourselves are really looking out for their best interests. So I really would like to encourage you in that. Thank you.
Thank you.
The other, I do want to bring to your attention, because you're the other government entity, and considering also that you come from the private sector,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like for you to, and your other board members, to start looking into the State Workforce Investment Board and see where you can fit in terms of your participation. Because that's also where you can make the most impact with regards to a comprehensive CNMI-wide workforce system, not just for Saipan, but it also includes Road and Tinian as well. And this program, they do get formula grants from the U.S. Department of Labor, Employment and Training Administration. I know Marissa knows this, we've been there before. And when we look at it holistically, we have a student or an applicant, and we are the umbrella around this person to make sure that the individual is successful. And that's what I want to paint to the Board of SHIFA, that you are not an isolated entity. You are part of the entire workforce system, to be part of that umbrella coverage, so that our people, when they're done being educated or being trained or being certified in any apprenticeship program or vocational trades program, that they really can depend on you and us, the entire system, that we are here to create that opportunity for them to come home to.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I believe I have exhausted my conversation with you this afternoon. I am so happy and appreciate your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's so nice to have a conversation with the private sector.
Thank you, ma'am.
I myself, most of my life has been spent in the private sector, even managing, one of the largest insurance companies of America, and being in the banking industry myself. So a lot of my passion and understanding and the way I approach things is really driven from the private sector industry. And collectively, we can make an impact within our public sector so that our citizens will have a better life.
Yes, ma'am.
I have no further discussions with you. I really appreciate your time and for everybody that came to support you. Members, for the last time, any other comments? None? We are officially closing the discussion as part of the agenda.
Thank you, ma'am.
You are excused. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I would like to thank the JGO committee and Madam Chair, Edith De Longbero. Thank you very much for having spending time with us here, and to my colleagues or former colleagues. Hopefully, this body will reconfirm my reappointment for the 4th time. And once again, thank you, JGO committee, and Madam Chair, thank you very much.
Scissors Marcia. Members, we're going to move on with the agenda on item 6, announcements. I'd like to inform all of you that on April 15th, this Thursday at 2:30, we will be having another committee meeting to go through the committee reports for all 3 nominees, Aquino, Babauta, and Mr. Tenorio, so that we could go through the committee's report and for deliberation on the 20th of April for the entire body of the SNILD delegation for hopefully their confirmation. So please do mark your calendars ahead of time. I'm sure you have your notices in your box as well. There's no further item other than the last adjournment. May I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting? It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Nays? Motion carried. This meeting is adjourned.